Fabinha, depois só lê a ata, por favor. Elis, lê a ata. Mais alguém tem alguma...
Eu tenho uma coisa para falar.
Fala, não tem problema.
Na nossa última foto, o doutor me cortou.
I wanted to start by showing the photograph of this great figure of Brazil. Pelé, great, but for me, the best soccer player in the history, and Tiaguinho, singer and famous. What do they have in common? It's very easy. They are a successful minority in Brazil. They represent a black minority of population that achieves success in a place with few so opportunity to do so. The history of Brazil didn't recognize at any time the importance of blacks for the structuring of the country or black suffering that over the years they saw. The process of abolition of slavery did not guarantee an equal life between races. As political, social, and economic difference persists still in 2019. The demand for public policies that prioritize the insertion of blacks in the university is whole. The MU, Unified Black Movement, has guided racial quotas since its foundation in 1978, already based on older movement that made the same request. A milestone for the approval of racial quotas in public university was the Third World Conference Against Racism, convened by the United Nations in 1997. The event took place in South Africa, and each country should present a concrete proposal for the progress of racial equity. The Brazilian proposal caught the attention of the media, raising the issue of racial quotas in universities. More than half of Brazilians declare themselves black, brown, or indigenous in the last census of the Brazilian Institute of Geography and Statistics, IBGE, conducted in training found. Even with this percentage, it's not easy to find black and browns living in equal situation with the whites. So, in order to reduce inequality between blacks and whites in the country, the quota law number 20,711, was passed in 20,000. This law indicates that is the date of the federal institution of higher education in the country must reserve part of the vacancy for public students, low income, black, brown, indigenous school. The reserve started at 12% and reached 50% in 2016. Social codes represent the reason of their own existence. The gap between public and private schools clearly provide different opportunities for the students for different social classes. Without quotas, disadvantaged students, candidates with greater financial stability, will continue to win, sit the best universities. The ideal will be to qualify public education, but that will take decades. The University of Brasilia was the first federal institution to approve quotas for ethnic and racial minorities, in the first Brazilian institution to approve quotas exclusively for blacks for 24 to 2013. 18 of the students who graduate from the university are black and joined the institution thanks to that system. In the current affirmative action system for admission to federal universities and Institute of Education, 50% of vacancies must be for people in public school. Of these vacancies, 25% are for people with a family income of less than 1.5 times the minimum wage, and the other all are available for people with family income more than 1.5 times the minimum wage, provided they had complete 3 years high school and public school. The job offers restricted by ethno-racial criteria are adjusted to this reserve of 50% of the total of vacancies offered by the university. And each course, according to the entrance exams or XISU. To calculate the number of vacancies for blacks, brown, and indigenous people, demographic census data areas. Regions with a greater number of black should offer a larger vacancy reserve for these people. States with a greater number of indigenous people should offer a larger reserve space for indigenous people, and so on. In this case, a federal university and institute, in addition to self-declaration with supporting documentation such as identification, candidate birth certificate, military enlistment certificate, or even their direct ancestor, mother, father. The applicant must go through an interview with the bank examiner to prove the truth of the self-declaration. A problem resulting for the latter case is that there is no way to express a specific objectivity to recognize people of color, and the subjectivity of the criteria adopted by the examiners have already caused injustice and even fraud. In 2010, the enrollment of black students in public university and college in Brazil exceeded whites for the first time. This group began to represent 50.3% of higher education students in public school, according to the social inequality by color or race survey in Brazil, published by the IBGE. Also, today, they represent more than a half of the students in federal universities. This group still only represents, since today, it corresponds to 55.8% of the Brazilian population. The survey also revealed that the black and brown population is improving their educational rates, both access and permanence. Tuition dropped from the 30.8% in 2016 to 28.8% in 2018 among the black and brown population aged 18 to 24 who studied. The percentage that attend higher education increased 50% in 2016 to 55% in 2018. Okay. The temporary nature of equalities emphasized by the ministers of the Supreme Court, and the understanding that also affirmative action is not the best option should be emphasized as a necessary step until a more equalitarian society is built. As the trajectory of building a more Islamic reality is long, the definition of objective criteria is the contest, monitoring is the great relevance. Certainly, the fact is that once the constitutionality of quota has been judged, new challenge rise for the public universities, since it is now up to the federal Supreme Court to decide the criteria for the operationalization of such measure. Thanks for your time, and if anyone have any questions,